All right, this is our second video where we're going to local nonprofits that deal with homelessness. When I say local, I just mean area, really. There's nothing in Nowata in particular that deals with problems of systemic poverty and generational poverty and addiction and homelessness and all this. So we went to the Tulsa Dream Center a couple weeks ago. Today we're at the Lighthouse in Bartlesville. I'm going to put it in the background here. That's her sign. They're pretty humble. I went to their website. I didn't see when they were established, but I know we've taken a lot of people there who needed help over the years. And TJ's here with me, and Greg Tiener at Bartlesville First United Methodist is going to be joining us, and they're going to feed us, and they're going to give us a tour, and hopefully we're going to be able to sit down with some of their leadership and ask questions about how they do things, because we have similar problems over in Nowata. Every place is different, but a lot of the issues are the same, and we're at a stage of learning. So anyway, join us on this time. We'll try and share everything that we learn, because we're sure that they have a lot to teach that would be very helpful. So let's go on inside, I guess.
And this dorm was built about probably 10 years ago.
So we're going into the men's dormitory
Men's dorm,
right now?
yes.
Okay.
This will house 33 men. Each one has their own locker and a bunk. And we try to limit how much stuff they have, because we can't accommodate a whole lot of stuff, but try to keep it down to a couple suitcases and whatever they can get in their locker. So, and we have one hospital bed here because we've had people have surgery. They come out of surgery, so we do have that available for those who have those special needs. And then we have all these beds here. The showers and bathrooms are over there. We have they have chores they do, like different ones take care of the bathroom, do the floors in here, and they're regularly assigned every week or every day. We have a different chore assigned for some of them. So men come here from all kinds of situations. Drug addiction is probably the biggest one. Mental health issues, and that's very closely aligned with drug addiction. They feed each other. Had a man come to me. I did chapel about 2 weeks ago, and after the Thursday night chapel, he came to my office with tears in his eyes. He said, "My birthday is December 22nd. And I had decided, if my life doesn't get better by then, I'm going to kill myself on my birthday." With tears in his eyes, he said, "I've been here 3 days. It's already getting better." And he's out working right now. He's got a job work for somebody, but that's why we do what we do. Yeah. And it's a very strong spiritual emphasis. We feed them, we clothe them, those are the felt needs. But the biggest thing is leading them to the Lord and helping them grow in the Lord. We do drug and alcohol class. We teach it twice a week. We do purpose-driven life twice a week. We're now teaching 7 habits of highly effective people. And I just started a new class yesterday called Experiencing God, the Henry Blackaby series. So we very much emphasize those aspects of it. This, like I said, this was built about 10 years ago, and I'll show you when you get back in there where the old dorm was and where the dining room was, how small it was at that time. This really was a big deal changer for the Lighthouse, opened up this much. And we're full almost. We got probably one or two beds maybe right now. And we have people come from all over the United States. Had a guy riding his bicycle from St. Louis, Missouri to come down here to come to the shelter. He said he woke up one day in an abandoned school building in St. Louis and said, "What am I doing here?" And he came back. His wife was living here in Bartlesville, so he came back here. So we have all kinds of people who hear about us on the internet. They search for a homeless shelter in a certain area, and so and then people refer them to us. DHS refers people to us. We have a very good reputation with DHS. for reuniting families, and they will allow them to get their kids back while they're here. They tour the place, see the room where they're staying. It's a whole lot better than where they were staying out there. A lot more accountability and a lot more support. And so we have a very good relationship with DHS. At one time, DHS didn't think it was a good idea, but they're seeing now that it's working. We've got two babies right now here, and a 2-year-old, and then about a 6-year-old. And one of the babies, when the baby was born, DHS took it at the hospital and then reunited with the mother after she'd been here for a while and got her back on her feet. So
is there, like, for the women who have children, are there like little separate bedrooms?
yeah, I'll show you the rooms upstairs. We have our families for 2 women's dorms upstairs, and then family rooms, and for married couples. And we just this last week we have 4 guys that work all night, and if they come here, they would try to sleep during the daytime, but then we'd have to lock the door there. Well, they can't get to the dryers, and so that shuts down the washing till 4 o'clock. And if we have a class, they have to come in and get their books, or they can't get their books or something. So it made it a lot better. We had a room upstairs, a large room. They would put 4 guys up there on bunks, and so then they have their room up there for those that work nights. And so as long as they're working nights, they can stay up there. If they quit their job or whatever, then they have to go back down here. But it really has helped us out as well as helped them out too. So, any other questions before we move on to the next section?
So the program you have here, is there like a graduation point, or is it just they're here until they find employment or housing?
We don't have a set time when they leave.
Okay.
Most of the people leave here too soon. And a 30-day rehab program is nothing more than a detox as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. And so it took them more than 30 days to get deep in addiction. And so we have them stay here as long as they want to, as long as they're making progress. And,
what's the longest?
Some people have been here about 2 or 3 years now.
2 or 3 years.
Yeah. But you think, well, that's a long time, but it's better to do that than break it up in 3 or 4 months at a time and do it over a period of 10 years. So.
Starting over.
Yeah. We'll go back this way then.
Ow.
This pillar right here, this was the men's dorm for 13 men, and this was the women's dorm. So you can see how it expanded right there. We named that Carlberg Har after Frank Carlberg, who was the chairman of the board at the time. When he did a lot of the fundraising for it, did a lot of the actual work himself, and kept promoting it. And it took 3 or 4 years to do it, but they built it debt-free when they got it done. It was all paid for.
So has this been the location for Lighthouse
Since '92, yes, when we started it. Yeah, this used to be a transmission shop down here, and you can see the bays, where the sidewalk out, or the pay where they had the bays. And then the upstairs was apartments, so it made it really conducive to what we're doing here. So we remodeled them upstairs. We sponsor 5 children through World Hope, and all the money comes from the residents. They put their dollars or quarters or whatever in the jar we have there on the front desk, and we also recycle aluminum cans. We do that. That money all goes toward here. And when we have a garage sale, all the coins from the garage sale goes through it too. So we kept adding to what we had, and we keep sponsoring more kids, and we're up to 5 kids now, $40 a month. And I've never had to put any money in myself to make sure we had enough. And so it's doing. Here's how much we've raised: $6,800 since as of December of last year. So
That's pretty beautiful.
and it's a World Hope just sent me a special thank you because they heard about us. And when they had the hurricane in Haiti, we had about $500 extra in our account in addition to the $200 a month. And so we took an offering from the residents that week and then put it with enough to make $500 to send to Haiti for their relief efforts there. And we're getting ready to add a chairlift system, not in this facility, this part, but I'll show you the back stairs there, because we had to turn somebody away about 2 weeks ago who couldn't manage the stairs, an old lady.
That was somebody I called in.
Okay. I remember you
She had
telling me.
Parkinson's.
Yeah, I remember you said you'd tried get her in, but we couldn't. And about 3 months before that, we turned somebody down because she couldn't make the stairs. So we've got a bid on it, $4,000. It's going to be, and the other thing, it's going to be 2 chair lifts. It says cheaper to build 2 than have to customize the curve here. So we're going to do it over there, and it'll just be 2 straight chair lifts. So we've got about $2,500 raised so far toward it, and I've had quite a bit of response off of Facebook. So 4,000 what we started with, and we've got about 2,500 now. And let's go this way here. This is the ladies' dorm here. There are 8 beds in here for women, and we have 2 bathrooms. This is 3 rooms made into a suite for the women. And we're getting ready to redo all of the upstairs, remodel about $120,000 total. But we're getting a grant from a resource, the refinery in Coffeyville. They called us and said they have money, they would like to help out, and so we presented them with that. And so we'll probably be getting that before too long. But we've replaced the floor several times and it cracks, and so we're going to use that wood laminate stuff that will last a long time and be more stable. And so we're going to remodel all the bathrooms, put new tubs and showers in them. And so, but nothing's been done other than just get them maintained, just to keep going. We're looking at maybe getting a unit, air conditioner unit, to have more of them on the same system. Because all of our units, all been trying to have window units, so trying to do that for more efficiency too.
How hot does it get up here in the hot summer?
Well, the air conditioner keep it down to probably about 75 or so.
Okay. It's not sweltering.
It's not really hot because each window has their own unit.
Okay.
Each room. Let's go right across here. This is a residence room here. And in fact, I think this is most of our staff are residents here also. And this is the lady that does answers the phone for us. This is her place here. So.
You just said most of the staff here also live here.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Joe doesn't, and as far as support staff, and then the administration, we don't live here, but and we couldn't afford to do what we do if we didn't have staff living here, because some make $75 to $100 a week. That's all we can pay them, and they still, it's a benefit for them. They get somebody coming in, they got everything else taken care of, so it helps them out a lot. And for some of them, it begins the process of their self-worth coming back, and then they can maybe look for a job somewhere else. And some of them, this is where they feel like they're supposed to be working and administering to people here. And the good thing about it is they know what the other people are going through because they went through it themselves. They know how to make somebody feel comfortable when they come here because they know how awkward they felt. And they can tell when somebody's starting to get ready to twist off because they see what they did themselves. And so we do drug testing regularly here. A lot of times it's individual, just somebody says, I think they're using, I think we should check them out. And sometimes they're right, sometimes we're pleasantly surprised that it was just strange behavior. But we have a no tolerance drug policy.
That applies to marijuana as well?
Yes, medical marijuana, they can't come because it's not right for somebody that has a card,
Sure,
getting the same high as somebody that doesn't have a card. So
yeah.
Medical marijuana, methadone, or prescribed narcotics.
Oh, really?
The only exception would be if they've had surgery, we may let them go for a week or so with narcotics, but we would keep it locked up and administer it as only as prescribed. So,
okay.
And just for a short period of time. And sometimes they might do it for 2 or 3 days, and then they go to extra Tylenol or something like that. But we're trying to help them not get back into that old life, because a lot of drug addiction started with a legitimate prescription,
right,
and got out of hand. So let me show you a family room. Well, this one's got babies. We won't do that one. This is the other. We have 2 women's dorm that's got 5 beds in this one here. Actually 4 beds, I guess. They don't have a bed here right now. So. Yeah, and then they have their own bathroom right here.
Is it always this clean?
Pretty much so, yeah. We told them we had company yesterday, and so we had company today. So, but usually they keep it pretty clean. Yeah. And we do room inspections, and if they don't make their bed, then we'll write them up for it. And
men and women?
Men and women both, yeah.
Big building. It doesn't look that big outside to me.
I couldn't gauge it.
We'll go on down here and show. This is the night workers. Should I wake them up and tell them we got company or let it go? And here's the other. We have a washer and dryer at each end, so we can help them with that. This room here is a family room. It's got 2 bedrooms and a bathtub. But you see the floor. When we replaced this, since I've been director, we put new flooring here, and it just, with that give and take of the floor, it's hard to keep it. So
you said this was a family unit here?
Right.
Okay.
Usually a married couple and maybe 2 children, and it was that was in the room over there. We put 4 single beds in there, so we might make that into just if we need that somewhere else, just make it a full-size bed for the parents and then the kids to be in here. So. Then we have one room here this is the only room up here that has a shared bathroom. These two rooms both they share that bathroom right there then.
Are these also family rooms?
This would be considered a family room. This would be a married couple's room. This is just, let me show you, this is just,
So you can have 2 married couples here at a time?
yeah.
Okay.
And they would share a bathroom. And then this is, and it could be a married couple and a child if we needed it, you know.
Sure.
Depending on what the actual need was.
And are y'all, the family rooms are all full right now?
I don't think they all are. I think there's maybe
What's
one.
your
Really?
absolute capacity? 60?
Well, we had after I became director, we had 75 at one time, which included 17 kids. Because see, the rooms, you know, they could be 2 kids or 3 kids.
Okay.
But we're at 55 right now. Probably 60 would be maximum all the adult beds available. So, and then here's where we're going to put the chair lift, because we just go up this side here, and then on that side there's just 2 straight shots. And when I got the bid, the company said it's actually cheaper to buy 2 chairs with a straight rails than it's opposed to buying 1 chair and try to get that customized curve on it. So
I'm surprised it's as cheap as you said.
I was surprised too. That was new. And Habitat for Humanity had 2 chair lifts, and so somebody called me. I went over and looked at them and measured them, but they were too short for what we're going to do.
That's
but
too bad.
we could got them. They were going $500 a piece, but the guy showed me, said he would buy them for us if we could use them, but we couldn't. And then Linda Radiker, our director of development, saw on Bartlesville Classified somebody had one, but I didn't get the size of it yet, so I don't think it's going to work either. So even at $4,000, it's simple installation. We can do it ourselves. The installation, because it just put it on the steps there. And it needs to be. Well, I want it exactly right. I don't want to have somebody have to cobble up, you know, where something might not work right, you know. So
Sure.
for that little amount of money and help somebody have access to the lighthouse, it's worth it.
Yeah.
So,
Good.
that's. All right. When I first became director, this was the chapel here, and there was the back there, and then we had a platform about 10 inches high all across there, and then we had a big old hallway through the middle of our chapel, and then we had pews facing this way here, and then we decided there was a doorway there we never used. We decided to make a chapel out that way, and then we would be able to change this into 2 classrooms. And we do the drug and alcohol class in there, and 7 habits in there, and then our board meetings there, and then we've got a room over here, a smaller room if somebody needs to meet with their probation officer or DHS or lawyer or something like that. And these rocking chairs, we make these to raise money for the lighthouse. We make them from scratch. We sold 14 at Sunfest, so they go really well, $50 a piece. I've got a craft show in Enid at the Vance Air Force Base. Their spouses are having it in 2 weeks, and so I've got to make about 20 of these in the next 2 weeks, which I'll get them done. And residents help me make them, and so it's a good project, and they're affordable. And we make probably $40 a chair, because most of it is scrap lumber and just a little bit of maybe pay for the trims like that. But most of the stuff we can get from scraps.
Unique.
Yes, we sometimes get some from
So what's the policy around people who live here hanging out in the facility versus having to be out and about?
Okay, a lot of big facilities, you've got to leave about 7 o'clock in the morning, can't come back to 4, and then you take a number to try to get to bed that night, and you have to take everything with you. Here, they can stay here all day during the day. We have classes for them during the day. We built this lounge area here so they can read, relax, or listen to phone, or listen to music or something like that. And then there's stuff we need to have done, and whenever have a volunteer, I have a donation, we ask for volunteers to go out and help unload it, you know, so there's stuff like that we have to do. I would like to have an activities director to keep them busy all day long with productive stuff, either craft projects or help, and I don't have that going right now. But it takes somebody that's their job is to, I can't take a staff to do it because they can't do the other job, because it's got to be something to give them some help in being creative and really being productive. So that's why what somebody would like to see happen eventually?
Well, I'm a professional artist. I could do some.
Okay.
We could do some volunteer work. We could do some classes maybe or something.
That
I don't know about full
sounds-
time. I
that-
have a full-time job.
Yeah,
but
that sounds interesting. I'm an artist. I painted that picture there, and
Look at you.
I love doing stuff like that and working with them, and so that's something we might want to work out. We've had it before, but I didn't really went in on the starting of it. You know, it didn't work out, and so. But I'll keep that
I've
in
done
mind.
a lot of research in blending
There's a-
spiritual work and artwork.
There's
so
a very
there's a lot of
art therapy is
possibilities.
very beneficial. So I would like to pursue that. Okay, we'll go ahead this way then to see the chapel.
You looked in there? Okay.
We just wanted to visit with her. She asked if she
She's our director of development.
Thank you for reminding me.
We built this probably about 5 years ago, maybe now. Total cost of $60,000, and we raised $30,000 ourselves, and the Lions Foundation gave us $30,000 grant for it, and we raised the money within 6 months. It was just amazing, and I was going to wait for him to come down there. Do you recognize these pews?
They're from the old church.
Yeah, these are from the chapel of First Methodist. They gave them to us. We had some other pews in there that were from somewhere else, and I'd reupholstered them twice for the Lighthouse, but when I found out
There's been some nice holy Methodist butts
yeah,
sitting
when
on
we
these pews.
they said they were available, and in fact they gave us some, and then we had in there, but we needed more for in here. And I called them; they had a few more in the chapel, so they gave us the rest of them. So it just fits just right. And Ocean Methodist Church put our sound system in, and when they came, I thought they'd probably put a couple PV speakers up there, you know, and that'd be our sound system. They got all done, and I thought, where's the speakers? Well, they put them in the ceiling, so it's very good sound in here.
Wow.
And then we built this. When we built it, we had this a nursery there for a choir room, and it's got sound in there, a speaker in there too, so they can hear the service.
Sweet.
Yeah, these are nice.
It's nicer than a lot of little churches.
Yeah, we're blessed.
I didn't realize Ocean Methodist had the.
Baptist.
Baptist,
I
ah.
would say, I don't think Ocean.
Yeah,
I
Ocean
was
Ma-
surprised when we said Ocean Methodist.
Ocean Baptist.
There's people
yes,
there who know about
yeah.
electricity.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they had somebody in there that I guess installed sound system or something like that.
So how many services a week happening in here?
We have 8 chapels, 5 during the morning and then 3 at night. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday night are our chapel services, and that's for people that work. They can't. A lot of them can't come to the day chapel, and then we have the classes 2 times a week. Each of the classes we have 2 times a week.
So, and then what mornings are you doing chapel?
Monday through Friday. Yeah.
So no Sunday morning?
No, I tell them they're required to go to church outside Lighthouse on Sunday morning. We don't have service here on purpose because they need to get into a church so that when they move out of here,
Yeah.
they're already established.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You're not going to leave the Lighthouse and try to find a church and feel comfortable. It's going to take a while to feel comfortable in a church and for a church to feel comfortable with you. And so I tell them you need to start finding a church and get involved. Don't just attend, get involved. Volunteer to help out and stuff like that. And we've probably got about 10 or 15 churches that people go to right now. And some of them bring their buses by and pick them up. Some of them they can walk to, and some of them have their own transportation. So
Greg, did I hear you over lunch saying that there's a person or two from here
There's
attending
been
yours?
one in the past,
Yeah.
but he's not here,
no.
and neither is he at the church
Okay,
any longer.
okay, okay.
But we do have a homeless guy coming to church that he was living behind Aldi's in a camp behind Aldi's. He's moved to the Motel 6.
There's a camp behind Aldi's?
Uh-huh.
Wow, I didn't know that.
So attendance at chapel is mandatory.
It's required, right.
How many times a week?
5. Anytime they're on the property, they're required. If they're working, then they just come to the ones when they're not working. And we have turned down a $40,000 grant from the government by requiring chapel because
Yeah.
they have this money they want to give us, but they try to work how we could reword it so it still meets the criteria, but it would mean that it wasn't required. And Joe, the other guy giving the tour, he came here as an atheist. And I did not know he was an atheist until he got saved. Then he told me he was, but he would sit here and in his mind make fun of us Christians up here trying to tell him about Jesus. And one day the Holy Spirit just got a hold of him, and I think he was in the dining room or else in the dorm, and he just broke down. And I was gone that day. He came in and wanted to get saved in my office. I was gone, so he went in the bookkeeper's office, Dan Dennison, who led him to the Lord. And then when I came back the next day, he couldn't wait to tell me what had happened. He said, and he figured out it took 180 chapels to get saved. And it cost us, at that time, about $1,000 to $1,200 a day to run the Lighthouse. So he figured about $300,000 for him to get saved. But if we hadn't, I said, if we hadn't required chapel, would you have come? He said, no.
Right.
And so we come, and I believe we should have good chapel services. We should have powerful messages that are inspired by the Lord and biblically correct. And so I don't apologize for requiring it because we have good services. There's some missions that have, can I say, hokey chapel services and require people to come. And the people sit there and endure it till they can. It used to be, years ago, we had a speaker come. He was related to the family that ran the place. And he would rant and rave up and down the thing and just sort of ramble. Had no really concrete plan where he's going. And then he'd give an invitation. And he wouldn't give up with that invitation until somebody came forward. So guess what they did on the smoke pit? They said, okay, it's your turn to go forward tonight. Because once somebody go forward, then they could leave. So they took turns, and that makes a mockery of the beautiful thing we're doing here.
Yeah.
And I thought, we're not going to ever do that. If it's not meaningful, we're not going to do it. And so we have several churches.
So you have a message every time with Bible reading, and then do you have musicians present every time?
We use the video there, a lot of the videos
Okay.
with lyrics on them, you know. Usually it's contemporary, but sometimes we play a hymn that has the video with the lyrics with it too. But we have, the format basically is, I'll give the announcements, then we have a song, and then a sermon, and then a song at the closing. And we have different churches that come in and do services also for us. So, and I do, when I was a kid, I thought I could never be a preacher because I couldn't imagine coming up with 3 sermons a week when you did Sunday morning, Sunday night, and Wednesday night sermons. I couldn't imagine doing that. Then I became director here, and during the COVID, no churches came in. I did 8 chapel services a week,
Right, yeah.
and taught 3 classes twice a week. So,
Never say never.
Do you have independent Bible study that you do here?
We don't.
Okay.
I have a small group that meets in my home of guys that I'm doing a discipleship with them.
Is that through your church or through this?
Was through here.
Okay.
I mean, our church started doing it, and then I started it when I continued doing it here. So we were encouraged to get a small group going. So this is my natural small group. I don't need to go out
Sure.
and try to find
Yeah.
neighbors to come. I got people right here. So,
Right.
So there, and then we encourage them to go to Bible study on Wednesday night. Some of them do that. So, any questions that I haven't already answered? And
It's a good presentation.
Thank you.
It was
Do-
excellent presentation.
Do you have any clue of the people who are, of the 55 people here, how many of them are professing Christians when they come in?
I
Like
would
what
say
percentage?
probably less than 50%.
Really?
And then professing and being are a whole separation there too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So in fact,
Gray area.
when I'm preaching a lot of times, I say, when those of you that are really saved, you know what I'm talking about. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, that's probably an indication you're probably not saved yet. And so, I mean, because the Holy Spirit will just bear witness with you that you
Yeah.
are, and you'll resonate. When you hear somebody talking about something, you know, that's in your heart too, you know, it rings true. So, but
You guys planning on doing something like this? Is that the image I'm getting?
Kind of, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, right now we're limited by manpower, really, not money. So
Yeah.
it's finding the right people that have the right gifts to offer, like your activities director stuff.
Yeah.
But you know, and I'm still not clear if I need to be the main guy up front for a while, or if there needs to be someone else that I just encourage and oversee. But we're wanting to do something a little bit different.
here's a word
facility-wise.
of observation I've seen. So I've been here in Bartlesville 30 years, and every year there's probably 5 to 10 new nonprofits that start, and about that many fizzle out each year too.
Yeah.
They have a good idea and a good vision. The director does, or the person that starts it, and then they pull off, they move away, or something. And pretty soon the thing just falls down. I've seen it happen over and over and over. You got to have consistent leadership
Yeah.
in whatever you're trying to do, because there's enough opposition from the spiritual world as well as other things too.
In Washington County, there's over 550 501c3s.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Right.
For a county this size. Wow.
And then I wonder how many other organizations in Washington County overlap with the services that y'all provide here. I know there are some halfway houses.
One thing that we try not to do is duplicate services. We used to feed people from the streets in our cafeteria, in our lunchroom, but Agape Mission does that, and that's their calling, and that's what they should be doing. There's no need for us to try to duplicate that. We need to focus on the people we have here.
Yeah.
And so we pull back on that several years ago, that we don't do that anymore. So there's some other things, you know, that Hope Clinic helps provide medical needs. We don't have, some facilities have a nurse on staff or a doctor on call. Now, we don't have that. We aren't able to, but we do refer them to Hope Clinic and other agencies that are can provide the medical care at little cost or no cost. So. I appreciate you guys coming very much. And if you have any other questions, be sure and let me know.
I'd love to have you back out at our church.
I'd love to come. I'm speaking at Blackwell in 2 weeks. I spoke at Blackwell about a month ago, and they've asked me to come back because their pastor's going to be gone again. So, but I love speaking at churches.
Which church over at Blackwell?
Christian church, First
Okay.
Christian. Yeah.
My brother preaches at the Methodist church over there,
Okay.
so it's quite a ways to drive out. But they support you from Blackwell, Oklahoma.
Yes, they brought their youth over during spring break and did a work day here, and one of the ladies, the sponsors, had a brother-in-law that needed a place like this. So he lived in Amarillo, Texas. She talked to him. He came up here, and I met him at the bus station and brought him here, and he was here for several months, and then he left, and then he came back, and then he's back out there not doing good. But that was our connection there. And then the church actually sends us a monthly support now every month.
Wonderful.
And you know, when I went this last time, I took one lady who's a staff member here, who's a resident also, and she is from Blackwell, so she gave her testimony. And that was pretty powerful for them to see how their town is affecting this town, and we're helping together. So, I mean, we're not a local ministry; we're all over. So, I need to go take care of something there. So, appreciate you guys coming. If you have any other questions, let me know.
All right, so we filmed the tour and we filmed the interview separately. We may or may not put them together, but I just thought it would be good to have a couple closing notes. I was really impressed with what I saw over at Lighthouse. It's been there for 30 years in downtown Bartlesville, getting by on a hope and a prayer. It's clear that they've had some struggles and some hard times, and of course nobody wants that. But a lot of organizations start with good intentions and then they crater under those pressures. And Lighthouse, under the leadership of Errol, and it sounds like Naomi, who came before him, and Errol is going to be retiring, and I think they know who his replacement's going to be. Anyway, it's a very impressive thing that they've done. I was very encouraged to see how an organization is able to stay so faithful. You know, I went to the chapel service and sat for the staff meeting. Just all throughout, Christ is glorified throughout all of it. They're doing quality work with integrity. Like I said, I think before the tour, I knew a couple people that have gone through the program there, just powerfully affected. It's made a big impact on a lot of lives. And, you know, there's a lot to be sad about. There are a lot of people who go through the program there and are not powerfully affected, but it's not the fault of the people who are there. You know, a lot of people, they don't like looking at these problems. They don't like dealing with these problems. It's hard to get money together for them. It's hard to get much volunteer support. But Lighthouse seems to have done a really, really good job using the resources at their disposal. I went on tour, the tour of the facility with Greg Tiener over at First United Methodist Church, Bartlesville, and it became known during the tour that his church is actively supporting Lighthouse financially. And I think that's a wonderful thing to do. And I think it'd be great for other local churches to just be regularly giving to this ministry or others like it, because they do vital work that comes back on the local church, but oftentimes the local church doesn't have the muscle or the resources to really engage people who are dealing with these issues. A lot of times they need a place to go. They need to be separated from their surroundings and even the people that they're with. And so we would be wise to continue supporting groups that do this. And there is a particular, I didn't talk about this with Errol, I wish I had, the faith-based angle is so essential. Faith-based programs are routinely shown to be much more effective than programs that don't integrate faith and require people to engage spiritually. So, you know, it's work that the government doesn't fund. It's work that the church really needs to be behind. And so often the church neglects supporting ministries like this, and I don't know why. But I sure am grateful for those churches that do support. So God bless Lighthouse. God bless Errol Hada and the work that he's and his staff are doing over there. And let's just be in prayer for people who are in Lighthouse, who have been humbled and are doing the hard work of getting their lives back together. And just pray that they see more and more success. So thanks for joining me for this time. I hope you were encouraged as I was. God bless you.